Now let's look at what the different parts of the screen show us. The baby icon next to the battery indicator tells us we are in neonate mode. You might need to wait for up to a minute for the trace to establish. You should then see a clear waveform like this.
If you have a good waveform, it means that the machine is reading the baby's pulse accurately, in which case the other readings should also be accurate.
The pulse or heart rate will appear below the waveform. If you do not have a good waveform, it is the wrong shape or not there, then the machine is not getting enough information from the probe and it can give false readings. The largest number in the top left-hand corner is the saturation level. As long as you are in the correct setting, an alarm will go off if the saturation is below the target level. The middle button at the bottom resets the alarm. The targets for the saturation levels are immediately below the SpO2 reading. In this case, the target is between 90 and 100%.
The alarms are of most help when you are using a pulse oximeter to continuously monitor a very sick baby. They warn you that the saturation levels have dropped and that the baby needs immediate attention.
The perfusion index tells you if a patient has good or poor perfusion. In other words, whether the blood is reaching the hands or feet. Very sick children with shock have poor perfusion. There is a pulse bar which shows the strength of the pulse. It is much harder to get a good saturation reading if the pulse is very weak. The waves from a weak pulse may look like this. They are regular but very indistinct. You may also get a poor reading if the baby is moving around a lot. Waves affected by motion tend to look like this. Make sure that there is no strong outside light source shining onto the probe. That can also interfere with the readings. Once you have a steady waveform, the saturation reading and heart rate should also settle. On the Lifebox pulse oximeter, the pulse or heart rate will appear in the top right corner. In this image, it is showing 90 beats per minute. The largest number in the top left-hand corner is the saturation level. The left button at the bottom resets the alarm. The targets for the saturation levels are next to the SpO2 reading. In this case, the target is between 90 and 100%.
It is also important to know that if you have a very sick baby with extremely low saturation levels, below 70%, then the pulse oximeter readings cease to be accurate.
If you are continuously monitoring, you need to move the probe around and not leave it on the same site for prolonged periods. It can cause pressure sores or other damage to the skin. Once you have your reading, you can take the probe off. Make sure you wrap the baby back up so that it doesn't get cold.